Likes, 100 likes between Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Vine, YouTube. Recognition through social media has become an obsession for some of today's teens and preteens, even some adults. Some of those kids who have spent most of their lives in the digital age, and some even checking their pages up to 100 times a day. But what kind of impact can obsessing over social media have on a teen's self-worth? Joining me this morning is, on the far end, Andrea Lewis. She is an author, and Dr. Julie Carbray, clinical professor of psychiatry and nursing at the University of Illinois Chicago's Institute for Juvenile Research. We were joking earlier, you couldn't fit that on a Twitter post because it's too long. So they are co-authors of the new book that I'm holding right here, Love Your Selfie, Life Lessons for Building Kid Charisma. And this book is a resource to help preteens ages 9 to 13 stop judging their self-worth based on the feedback they're getting through social media. So I'm going to get right to the tips that you guys have for parents, because I think that's the most important nugget that they can walk away with. So Julie, what kind of information would you give to parents to pass on to their kids?
Well, I think what's most important is that kids should really be talking with their parents, parents talking with their kids about their use of social media, and then really accentuating their control, their care, their confidence of what they choose to post, how they take in social media likes, dislikes, and then having that conversation is on an ongoing basis.
But the negative feedback can be so horrible. And I mean, I know as an adult it's difficult to deal with, but as a child I can't even imagine, because it's not just walking through the halls at school and hearing that negative feedback. It is written and you can't get rid of it. How does a child deal with that?
Well, and I think this book actually gives a really good example of how Harper, within the book, gets some of that feedback and then really struggles with it. And then what the book does is actually shows a great example of how that can look in a positive way.
And Andrea, walk me through how the character deals with it.
Well, friendships, belonging, and even bullying have always been part of growing up, especially in middle school. But social media puts it on the public stage, and it's deflating the self-worth of kids as young as 9. So Love Your Selfie is a short story that kids see themselves in, that not only helps them understand what we think of ourselves matters most, but helps them use self-acceptance to keep the influence away of negative feelings and behaviors. It's the first resource that is written for preteens, not adults, and that focuses on building character strength as a solution. Adult supervision remains critical, but kids are on the front line, and this book empowers them with greater self-esteem.
And how did you come up, I mean, it's kind of obvious if you look at what kids are going through today, but how did you personally come up with the idea to write this book?
Yeah, you know, it's every story I've heard about a child, a preteen, a parent, a teacher of middle schoolers who is struggling with this issue and struggling to help kids. I have a friend, Nicole Pearl. We talked about this issue. I looked and saw that there aren't a lot of resources for kids, mostly for adults, and the book was born.
And doctor, do you encourage parents to get involved if there is something so negative written about their child, maybe from another student? Should the parents then make contact with the parent of that student?
So that's a really good question. I think what's most important is that parents are aware of what's happening within social media, that those discussions occur on a regular basis, and that the child actually knows that comments are not the core of who they are.
Right.
And that the child builds resilience. With that particular situation, I think it's very hard to know what to do. But I think what's most important is that your child is protected and that your child knows how to understand that and become resilient to those attacks, so to speak.
Julie, Andrea, thank you so much for coming in. The book again is Love Your Selfie, Life Lessons for Building Kid Charisma. And where can people pick it up?
It's available on Amazon, and you also can find more information on my website at lifelessonsforkids.org.
Thank you so much. Positive comments for both of you. Thank you. We'll send it back inside to Richard and Darlene.